Hey, everybody. Sorry, we're a little bit late today and a little fancy. Look at my polo. I'm in polos. A polo show. Sorry, we're a little bit late with technical difficulties and just, life things happen. But we're stoked that you guys are here, that you guys hung out, all the little fun jazz, and we're going to kick this show off, right? What you guys are here for. And of course, you guys know who I am. I am Davis Peng, writer for Fantasy Six Pack and Stochastic, also known as Peng's Picks. And with me, the Road Show, the ever so dope, the homie, Hope. Hope, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Davis. Apologize for any technical difficulties you might run into here playing a road game at my parents' house this week, and so
Those are, by
hopefully
the way, if you guys notice, it's a road beanie. She's not. She does have a beanie on. She has a road cap now,
road
so
cap.
that's how you
Yep.
know it's a road show. I like your
But yeah,
beanies. I'm just saying. That's just me, but
yeah, no beanies here, unfortunately. I tried to scrounge up what I could, but no, it should be fun. We're gonna get into a draft. We've got some stuff to talk about. Um, but yeah, no, playing a little bit of a road game here, so hopefully everything stays connected and good here.
oh no, it was rough. We were like, not to be too detailed, but we were like scrambling. Like, is this working? Is it not working? Is it working? Is it not working? Because when you guys leave home and we have desktop and etc., things change. And excuses are over, but we're here to talk best ball and all the little fun stuff that comes with it. So right off the bat, our first topic, as you guys can see, we're talking about and probably saw from what Hope had tweeted out. We're gonna be talking about some of our big board stuff. Um, you know, just right off the bat, it's May 18th. I'm 42 best balls deep. I'm
Best
at
ball
100
manias,
and
yeah.
yeah, best ball mania is deep at 100 puppies. And it's a little embarrassing on my side because like I'm drafting a little bit different than I was doing before. I have all the Najee Harris's, Michael Thomas, and Derek Carrs, but there's a bunch of guys I took like and I'll say this right now. I gave some terrible advice apparently going for my big board. So we're gonna talk about some discrepancies from big board to now, and how do we feel about it? Did we change things like that? So Hope, you go with the first one first before reseat myself.
Okay, so I'll start. My first one was Kenneth Gainwell. He was an exciting click for me. I like the way the Eagles used him last year. They used him everywhere, right? They didn't just use him in the passing game. If he was in around the goal line, he got us some of those carries. Obviously, not a ton, but I really liked his usage. I liked, it kind of felt like Miles Sanders was going to move on, and he was going to have a clear RB2. We knew he'd be the RB2. Like they brought Penny in, but Swift wasn't there yet, right? And so that just kind of crushed, right? It's killer. He was my second or third highest exposed running back in the big board at prices much higher than what he goes now. Um, so that one was a little killer. Looking back at exposure, seeing like, wow, I was had a lot of gain well for how his situation has turned out with Swift coming in. Um, I still think though now in big board throwing him on 17th, 18th rounds, he's still a little earlier than that, I think, but still like I don't hate him now, but obviously the price I was paying in the big board, which is like 11th, 12th round Gainwell, doesn't feel as good now. That's for sure.
I mean, I have zero Gainwell in both. And here's the thing: I think the logic for big board, 100% correct, right? I was a skeptic in the sense of like, oh, he's someone's gonna come in and take some of that role. But now here we are with two people have taken his role, right? And technically better versions, right? Rashad Penny, better between the tackles, and then Swift, who is a quote unquote better pass catcher and dynamic and etc. And then now you're sitting there with Gainwell going like, how do I draft him? How do I use this guy? Or when does he become viable? How many injuries need to occur before I can get good value? And weirdly enough, Gainwell didn't fall as much as we thought. He's still like you said earlier than expected, right? It's like pick 140 or something like that.
Is that where he still is? Yeah, I haven't.
I think
I've
he's
seen him fall a
pretty
good bit.
high.
Casey's got 26%. Will Levis in the big board as one. Which
That's
20
interesting.
round drafts at least, right? Like that's another thing too. Like that helps a lot. And I've noticed like I don't know. I think I might actually like 20 rounds better. I don't know if how you feel about that, but just from drafting more over on DK recently and Underdog at the same time, I kind of think I prefer the 20 rounds. I don't know.
Oh, no, no, Tarek corrected me. Gain was 190. Okay, that's not terrible. I think that's actually a fun pick then.
Yeah, I know
I
he
just
was
know he's
going late now.
what it is. He's still ahead of Gus, which I thought was a little interesting.
Who's someone in
Uh,
the board you took a lot of that now you don't feel as comfortable with?
God, JSN. Like, so this is where I hold my. I was like, hey, like a team that's gonna take JSN like is gonna need him, and he's gonna go into a starting role, and it's he's gonna gain value on this pick, which I guess from his ADP of like 50 something to stays at 50 something, it's not a net loss. But when I'm projecting out JSN's outcomes, I'm always like, huh, is he more valuable or equal to Chris Godwin? Is he more valuable or equal to Brandon Ayuk or Mike Evans right now? And the answer is like probably not. Is he even equal to some of the running backs there? You got Damian Pierce, you got a lot of these guys that are like could be week to week contributors in your team, and I don't think JSN is short of if a touchdown game or Tyler Lockett being injured or DK Metcalf being injured. So I know we're still paying for him at ADP 58, and it's not the worst loss, but I was so confident that he was gonna be like, worst case say pseudo Garrett Wilson. Like, okay, like you're still gonna get good value.
Yeah.
I'm not confident right now, and I feel absolutely terrible.
I still think he's a fine pick where he's going. Like you're right about the contingent upside with him, but also he's gonna be out there in 3 wide receiver sets. And I think
I
there's a
mean,
chance the Seahawks do that more this year. I mean, they spent a first round pick on him, right? They have a plan. And so I
yeah,
am not as scared off. Plus one injury away from, potentially being a smash at that price. So I'm not too worried. And I like Gino a lot as we talked about last stream. So I'm not
I
super,
mean,
super worried about it, but I get your point. Like, he
like
could have gone to a place with a clearer path for sure.
Seattle's just never done three wide receiver sets that I've seen, at least not often, right? And obviously they've never had three amazing receivers like they do now. But like, our best bet is to always go with what we know.
Yeah.
They had Dwayne Eskridge, nothing would occur of that. Marquise Goodwin, and it's not like it's been.
Those guys aren't JSN, though.
They're not by any means. But I'm just like not confident. And then how many teams that have three wide receivers and we take the third receiver at pick 50? Like how many of
Yeah.
us are signing up for like Tyler Boyd with Joe Burrow in a an air raid offense that uses nothing but three wide receiver sets? Like no one's like Tyler Boyd at pick 55. Come on guys, let's like so. I
I think
have
that's fair. Obviously,
I have to shoot myself in the
JSN.
foot in this. So
I think that's fair. I just think, look, it's a tough situation, but JSN being, the wide
younger.
receiver one in his class and like someone we've been excited about for multiple years as a prospect. Obviously, he didn't end up being quite the prospect we thought he would be a couple years ago, but he still was wide receiver one in his class. Like I think it's a little bit different than Boyd, but that's a fair point. Like it is a wide receiver three in an offense going at pick 50, and that's
So
scary.
I gotta eat my L on that one. That's fine. And then who
S-
is your second one?
Yeah, my second one, and this one honestly, I wasn't super predictable for me. We knew they needed to add weapons to the offense, but I had so much Dawson Knox early. I liked him. I liked him a lot. Um,
We did. We
we
both
loved.
did. I'm on camera saying it too. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, we all love Dawson Knox, right? What's up, Hudson? We all love Dawson Knox, and so having as much of him as I do in the big board does not feel great right now. Obviously, after they bring Kincaid in, we're hoping they run a lot more two tight end sets in Buffalo, and if they do, I think we're fine, right? Yeah, Updog is saying Knox is his biggest L. So,
we, we're
and
all
and
still
it's
together.
tough too. Like the situation even worked out where like he is obviously the better blocker between the two as well, right? And so on those sets when they are in two tight end sets, it's still going to be Kincaid going out for the routes more so than it's going to be Knox in that situation. So it's tough, feeling that L with him right now, but he's still always going to have that touchdown upside being in that Buffalo Bills offense. And so that's what's, makes me not feel too bad about it. But any like two tight end teams, like I'm thinking of one specifically that I drafted with my friends where we went Kittle Knox as our two tight ends, thinking we're safe. And that was like at a pricey investment for Knox, but feeling good about our picks there. And now I feels bad because we know Kittle's gonna have those down weeks. And now we don't even have, Knox as that reliable backup. And so, that definitely does not feel good in that particular build.
I did my projections on Knox, and I don't think it changes as much as we think. Hopefully, that's just the optimist in me, the guy who drafted like 15% Knox also. So, um, we'll see though. Like He still paid a ton of money. He has a specific role, and something I did talk about a little bit less is that he is somebody that is not playing that slot role. He tried to do it last year. His yards per reception were a little bit lower than his normal, which was like I think 13 yards. So I think we're fine. Like I think it's gonna be still a net. Like we probably lost value on ADP, but I feel like the outcome we expected might be the same. Because I don't
Yeah.
think Dalton Kincaid's gonna get like all those slot like touchdowns, right? Like they went from like one or two slot touchdowns to four or something. Like it's not crazy. So I don't think they're eating into each other, especially if they think that he's a slot tight end type guy. Which if I was someone that traded up for a first round, tight end, I have to assume they're going to use him the way they said they're going to use him, or at least what the expectation
Yeah,
is.
and I think so, and we talked a little bit about him, in chat on private in our DM this week, and the case for Kincaid is still there, right? Like, this I really do diving more into that stuff that Liam talked about with the quarterbacks that these rookie tight ends went to the past 5 years. I mean, it is crazy how, like, a lot of the top rookie tight ends really did go to situations with bad quarterback play, right? And so maybe that truly is skewing some of the data that we have
How
around these rookie tight end production. So,
how dare you,
it's
Hope?
interesting.
Eric Ebron did not go into a bad situation with Matthew Stafford. No, I'm just kidding. Matthew
I said the
Stafford is
last 5 years.
his first contract was really bad, actually. Like, if you look at like first contract Stafford, it's not good. He was a guy that got better through the decade. But it's actually a good research, and that's why when you told me that, I was like, let me plug in the numbers. Let's say if he is a slot, what did it came up to be? And I'll share my stats with you. But like the idea is that he might be a 600-yard, 60 something reception guy with like 4 to 5 touchdowns. Like, so there is a place for Knox still.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
my last guy, and this is actually more someone I didn't take, and then I'm backtracking and taking now. Uh, James Conner. Like, so I talked about James Conner a little bit last time, and I kind of showed a lot of love to him. But when I looked at his ADP in Big Board, he was like pick 100 and like 10 or something ridiculous, and now he's like pick 80. And I was sitting there, I was like, oh, James Conner, like he ain't that great. And this is me not really looking at his stats, his real numbers, and what he could provide to my team. Even if James Conner did what he did last year, right, which was play like 9 games and contribute in like 7 of them, at pick 110 at the running back position with like 150 points, that's pretty good value. Think about it. Like that is great value for a RB5. Like an RB4. Like
Right.
you're getting 150 points in your RB4. Like that's amazing flex numbers. That's age RB2 numbers. And now I have to backtrack and draft this guy 20 to 30 picks higher.
Yeah.
Because that sucks. It feels bad. So I kind of wish I would have been smarter about that. Not set on my priors, being like, oh, this guy's injury, this team is bad, because bad teams, as we talked about before, like the Falcons, the Bears, like they ran the ball well, and the Cardinals did too. Outside of whatever they did, outside of was it who was the backup they had there that wasn't Edmonds that got cut? Forgot his name.
Benjamin.
Yeah, outside of and even then, was actually kind of relevant there too. Like they actually had a steady run game, and I know we look at Colt McCoy and go, "This is going to be a bad year," but we
It
just
could still
saw
be
a
a good
couple.
year for Connor, right?
It could
Lots of
be a
dump
good year for
offs.
your Connor. Like, and I wish I would have did that during Big Board. So, anyways, let's kick
Let's
off the
do it.
draft and we'll do our last two talks going on. I know people want to hop in and be cool. If you guys haven't noticed, Hope has been slowly not repping as her $50,000 in our corner like she was in Big Board.
Oh man. All right, Snapfield on us. Chris G's in here. Let's see
Whoa, you
who.
guys are gross. You guys are already in here. Okay.
Nice. Ooh, we dodged Paul tonight. I wonder if he tried again. Casey's not in here. That should be a fun one. Got the 104. We'll take it. I did a draft earlier during Stephanie's stream on Fantasy and Frames. You guys should check that out if you didn't. Got the 109. Did an Anthony Richardson build. It's my first one in a little while. Since the first day. Got him at pick 88. I'll take that. The overflow snap filled as well. Paul is saying.
Sheesh. You guys are all trying to hop in and steal our EV.
I'll say this now, even though I'm sure all of you watching do play an underdog, but if you don't for some reason and you want to hop in these drafts, use promo code HOPE, get your $100 deposit match bonus for
The
your first deposit.
overflow room sounds epic as hell. It's
Overflows.
literally Spags, Oh my god.
Stephanie's in there, Paul's in there,
Steph, Paul's in
Casey's probably
there,
in it.
Fantasy Football Garage is up in there. Oh my god.
Man,
I'm
we
sorry,
dodged it.
guys.
We did good. We did good. That was good dodge.
Yeah, yeah. We timed it perfectly. We were all like sitting in there. Someone
Oof.
go
All right.
live. Steph, hop it up.
What are we thinking here? We're up. Are we going CMC? Are we going Cup?
I want to go Cup.
I do too.
I I've been I really don't like my first round RB builds.
No.
Um, I don't unless they're at the back end. I don't know. Maybe I just got to do more drafts. Maybe 42 BBMs isn't enough. Maybe I got to figure it out.
Nate.
um, Nate's an overflow. God, you got what? Is there two overflows? I'm gonna be laughing. There's just like a buttload of overflows. But something we were gonna talk on is just tiebreakers. Uh, so
Yeah.
right now we are in this weird boat of we have a lot to think about as best ballers, right? BBM one, it was like, yo, get your guy. There was no such thing as exposures, as correlation wasn't really a thing. So now we have to kind of get fancy and break this down. So outside of getting your guys, if a bunch of people are in the same ADPs and you have them ranked the same, hope, like who are your guys that you're picking up? Like, how do you decide a tiebreaker?
So first and foremost, I start, true to my roots, like player take, right? Like I think that should kind of be your first tiebreaker. Now I do play this game more balanced exposures, but I'm not an 8%er across the board, right? Everything fluctuates within a range there from like 0% on a guy to 20% for me. And that's how I choose to play. But first and foremost, I do just still genuinely start with the old school like player take, if it's a player I like. And then after that, if it's a range of players um where I feel similar about all of them, then yes, correlation, stacking, all that comes in. And then I'll do week 17. So I'm stacking before week 17 obviously. But then, they all kind of go together, right? Like I don't know if I ever truly think of it as an order. I don't know, I kind of do, but um I guess I just try and stack as many different reasons to pick a player as I can together, and all of them kind of go under that same umbrella here. What about what about for you? Do you start with just player take first? Like, do you like this guy or not, or do you look first at a reason to take them?
So I know right off the bat, it's obviously gonna be player take for me, right? Everybody will say we like a guy, we like a guy, we take that person. But after I've done so many drafts with like 50% Najee, 60% Najee, I have to figure out. But to be fair, though, I will say that Najee's kind of in his own category because there's no running backs in his zone. But let's say Jerry Judy, DeAndre Hopkins, DJ Moore. Those guys are like round three. They're already on top of each
Jeez.
other. And I do say that I like Jerry Judy more. I like DJ Moore more than Hopkins and etc. But at some point I have to be like, okay, I can't just take Jerry Judy here 90% of the time. And if they were tied for me, my first thing I check, and this is gonna be funny because actually I was listening to another show. They were saying, hey, like correlation is the last thing for me, and I actually agree. Correlation is the last thing for me. First thing I want to look at is when I build this player down the road is what are they contributing, and I go on my contribution rants, but basically it's is this a spike week player or is this a consistency player? So when I look at somebody like DeAndre Hopkins, I go, he's a consistency player. DJ Moore is a consistency player. So if I have a team that has maybe let's say my wide receivers are AJ Brown, DK Metcalf, maybe my third guy isn't a spike week guy, and it's a instead of Christian Watson, I would go Jerry Judy, Hopkins,
Right.
or in that order. I would say, hey, I need a consistency player. So I would say that's my first tiebreaker. And then my second one would definitely be exposures. Obviously, would be down that road, and then bye weeks. I like bye weeks more than correlation because I feel like bye weeks help me figure out can I get this person further. So if I have a lot of bye weeks right now, we love that Chase, Chase Higgins, Derrick Henry combo. But if I have to figure out like, okay, like I need to figure
Who
out
do
this
you like
bye week
here?
issue. Oh, I don't have a lot of Nick Chubb, so let's grab Chubb. Do
I
you have a lot
am
of Chubb?
totally down.
Yeah, I don't have a
I've
lot of
got a
Chubb.
decent amount. I haven't picked Henry yet.
Oh no.
What?
Actually, I was gonna say I goofed that. You should have grabbed the receiver.
Why?
No, I think like Higgins would have been a good pick there.
He probably would have. I like double tapping RB here though, so that's not it's not a big
Really?
deal to me. Yeah. I love these. I
What?
mean, all of these RBs are awesome right now. Awesome picks. I
Oh
I
my
love
god,
getting that
someone broke into
anti.
Hope's house. Somebody has her hostage. There's no way that she's taking double RBs. I
That's a
refuse to
little on the
believe
nose,
it.
Davis.
Oh my god, am I mad? I forgot about that. Oh my god. I had a friend that used to send that to me whenever he saw me playing a game that didn't it was like, "That's not your portfolio." It's like like someone broke into your account and bought a bunch of games. Like, my god, it was like, I'm not expecting you to double RB here. I don't think I've ever seen you do that besides
I
Wolf
do
Life.
that all the time. I've been doing that a lot. I've been getting my anchor wide receiver in the first 4 picks and then double tapping these RBs. A lot of like Jacob Stevenson, Pollard. Like this is a
Wow. Higgins is gonna go. There's no way Higgins is not gonna go.
yeah.
There's gonna establish the bink. But no, but like so I feel like that's my other tiebreaker is that too. Like bye weeks and then it is week 17 kind of last for me. I just can't I feel like I gotta see where the points are coming from if they're gonna contribute. And I always feel like it's a big thing for me right there and there. So that's how I would feel about it. I mean, is that in that same realm at all for you in those last two? Where's week 17 correlate or bye weeks correlate for you? Like, what is that? Does that
I'm
matter?
probably week 17 over bye weeks. I don't think I pay as much attention to them as you do as far as like, as a definite tiebreaker here.
Come on,
I
come on.
use it as a tiebreaker, but it's not my most important thing. Like I'm fine not going to say punting a week, but, you know, just like I don't know, I don't feel like it matters as much when it comes to
Yes, give us the Higgins.
you want T? I was going to take Henry here, but
I
we'll do
want
T.
T. I
That's fine.
want T. I I like T's numbers. There is such a huge teardrop with these receivers. Like it gets really ugly, and I feel like we can replicate some of Henry's numbers. I mean, we have Chubb too. Like Chubb is like
Oh
my
yeah, I
guy.
mean Chubb could be the
Sweet.
RB1 this year.
Yeah. That's a tough one right there. Dude, I was in a 101 for once, and like Higgins got snapped at like 23, and I was mad.
Yeah.
I want a JJ like Higgins combo so bad. Ooh, shout out to the boys. Thanks, Steph. I'm sure that Hope appreciates you grabbing that Rams Ramtown.
I mean, that's probably my most surprising thing right now is as much as I've hyped Ramondre, I still don't have a share of him in BBM. I
What
don't.
a hypocrite over here.
I've done 18 BBMs and no Ramondre, and it's frustrating because I'm obviously trying to get him. I'm just getting
Yeah, the way
sniped every time.
too many 101s for you is why. Um. Anyways, so I mean that's where we sit on tiebreakers, and I expect I expect, but I would hope that everyone kind of has that idea, especially when you start drafting into hundreds and hundreds of teams and your exposures get out of whack. Set up these tiebreakers. Think about things differently, because all of us can sit here and talk about bye weeks, correlations, and etc. But I do think about how do they contribute to my team. If I see a guy that just
So
doesn't fit,
let's talk more about the bye week thing because I think this is something you definitely pay more attention to than me. Talk to me
yeah.
more about like what are your limits? Like, what exactly are you looking for with your bye weeks? Like between like say you're running back and wide receiver positions, them individually, them together. Like this is something that like I guess I just don't pay as much attention to as you do. So I want to kind of pick your brain here on what exactly you're looking for. I think it could help a lot of people out there.
So when it comes to bye weeks, the thing I look at a lot is the wide receivers. I think the wide receivers for bye weeks scare me the most. Tight end, it's not great. Running backs, usually you have five, so the odds of you ever getting like, I would say, so many guys that aren't contributing is tough. Like running backs kind of just contribute whether like AJ Dillon is a guy that like he'll probably get you 8 points, right? And if he gets a touchdown, sweet. So yeah, I'm not worried on that. But like wide receivers, if you have wide receivers that don't contribute, so let's say you do the T. Higgins, Jamar Chase combo, right? You got two of your primary receivers and your top two picks, and then you get another week 10 guy. Now you have four guys trying to be useful that were likely not your first two picks, right? We just established that Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. And let's say your third guy is another week 10 person. So then you have three week 10 people, and then your last four guys are probably wide receiver 4, 5, 6 tier guys, seven, whatever. And they're like trying to hodgepodge points and wide receivers miss a ton.
Yeah.
Even Justin Jefferson at one point last year missed like 3 weeks straight. Like he was just not useful for 3 weeks. And and when those happen to concur in the bye weeks, the bye week storm, especially week 10, and and let's say they have deep shot guys. You have like MVS is one of those guys, and then your other three are guys that need to get up going. You could literally get like 25 points that week in out of three spots. And then you're very reliant on your running back to be a good flex. You're relying on your tight end if they happen to share a bye week those weeks. Like there's a lot that could go wrong. And like don't even touch if you have a bad quarterback week, right? If your quarterback isn't
Yeah.
putting up 25, it's it can be tough for a lot of you can go from getting that average of 100 to 120, 140 shot, and you're at 80, you're at 75. And I think the wide receiver is like where I look at and go, oh my God, like I have three guys here. Three of my top picks, or my first four receivers, three of them share that bye week.
Yeah.
It hurts. It hurts way harder than I think most people expect.
I
And I
think
would
it
say,
does
yeah,
because I feel like I guess like my gut take would be it's just 1 week, right? Like
yeah,
you might just have one low scoring week. Like what does it matter for your overall team?
yeah.
But we saw like a lot of these leagues do come down, to really close points at the end, like the charts we looked at last week. So, it,
So
it, it can really affect that.
I looked at one of my weeks, and I looked at a couple of these. I saw one that had a 60-point week. Like I had scored 60 points in a week, and I was like, oh, this is terrible. Like by 80, 60 to 80 points. If people
All right,
catch up,
Zach
you see
just
a whole lot.
grabs Burrow on us here,
Oh,
unstacked.
uh,
Unfortunate. I like Judy here. I like
I
Drake
like Judy
London.
here. I would
Um,
grab Judy or London. I think one of those two guys make more sense. But I want to say let's go with Judy because we know that why the quarterback is a better situation there
it
over
probably is.
Ritter.
Um, I'm trying to get more London. I really am.
I'm trying to.
I think he was good last year, and I have a lot of Judy. So that was
Did
my
you
only
happen to
hesitation
listen to
there.
a podcast recently that no, just kidding on the draft teams.
The draft
I
suits,
do
no.
tell the draft teams.
But no. I mean, that was a take I had the big board. Like, I just thought London was
Yeah,
really, really good last year, and he showed flashes, earning a lot of targets, especially late down the season with Ritter. He seemed
yeah.
to be his go-to guy, and so he's someone like if someone has to do it there, right? Like their wide receiver two situation is horrible, right? Like who is their wide
Mac,
receiver two?
Mac Hollins, baby. You don't
Oh,
have to
I
hate
mean,
on Mac
another one of
Hollins.
my big picks in the big board. I had a lot of Mac Hollins, but 20 rounds makes it, I think, more
I was gonna say
palatable.
it's can't hate them too hard.
No,
Um, but like, yeah. But yeah.
I
Anyways, I
do
think about
probably
the bye
prefer
weeks is fine.
Judy in a vacuum though over
I
London for
I
sure.
think Judy just has a better shot at touchdowns in London. Sometimes I feel like Bijan just might get 20 tutties and then you're screwed, right?
Well,
Like you're like,
we should take him 101 then if you think
nah.
he's hitting 40 tutties.
Bijan would be great. You never know. Like there's running backs who do 20 tutties. Like it happens. Even Alvin
It
Kamara's
does,
done
it
it.
does.
All right.
This is a gross spot right here. Um, I'm
Uh,
probably fine just taking the ADP fall on Hopkins.
I don't think this team needs it. I feel like we can get our fourth or fifth receiver later. I would either go Sanders, Mixon.
What
I
about
know what
Walker?
we talked.
What don't you grab Walker? Get a
Yeah, let's
slight.
do. All right,
I
fine. Let's be
yeah.
different. I was gonna
Let's
say
get
Kittle
rid
would
of
be my
him.
other shot there too. Too late. Grab him. Grab him.
We
Oh
got him.
no.
You don't have to
um.
tell you immediately bring up an elite tight end, and I'm clicking over.
Okay. I'll twist my arm, but
Don't twist my
anyways,
arm on an elite tight end.
that's my point on the whole to bye weeks thing. Sorry, we get back to that, but yeah, that's my thing. Like I just feel like you can eat a bad week and you eat minus 80 points week or minus 60. Like it hurts. It
Yeah.
hurts terrible, and it's so hard to make back those points. Um. So I know we're getting to this part, and I guess this is kind of a shot at myself because I wrote when I wrote this on the show sheet, I was like, huh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe like maybe I shouldn't bring this up, but so July 18th is the hot date this year for BBM3 winner and regular season winner. Everyone was stoked about it. And the year before with Liam's win was in June. So
Right.
when that means there's never been a winner in August, guys. So don't even bother. But I joke. When do you plan on doing the bulk of your drafts? I mean, you're trying to max out BBM, correct?
I am. Yes, I do plan to max BBM. I plan to do most of them in July and August. I'm
Okay.
gonna do probably. This is my 19th one, or obviously we're sharing this one, but my 19th one on my account. Probably by the end of May, gonna be about 30. I would bet about the end of May. Maybe do about another 30 to 40 in June, and then go hard when it gets to July and August. I know you're taking a slightly different approach. I'm
I
at this is 19 and you're at what, 40 something?
Yeah, that's because I got carried away. I was like going a little too ham with that. Back to the
Bloodbath.
ball. Hold on, I gotta see this. Someone's got to post that on Twitter later, please. Please
Yeah,
do.
we need to see this board.
This board
Um,
sounds like absolutely red badgy. Um, I'm gonna do all mine by July and half of August. I hate drafting after mid-August, and I know what people are gonna say. Oh, that's where all the casuals come in, and it's a hey man, I've seen enough five quarterback teams so far that I'm okay that there's some casuals here now.
I was gonna ask you though, like you've done 40, what, 42?
42.
I
I
mean,
wasn't trying to
did
get
you
that
plan
far.
to do that? You weren't? Okay, I'll let
No,
you.
but I do think that I want to have at least. I might just push to 45. I try to break it up as 45, like 35, 35, and then the last 35 by August 20th range. I like I said, I believe my edge is now, like from now till July, where I'm getting more info, and I don't want to be closer to footing on another person, right? And I'll say it before and I'll say it again, like what's the point of doing all this if we're like not drafting? Like, what's the point of doing all like this research, this content, like figuring out depth chart predictions if I'm not going to use it? Now, I'm
Yeah.
not saying that if you don't
I mean, I
stop
am
content,
drafting. I'm just drafting on
yeah,
DraftKings right now.
and you are, and you're also you still have what? How many BBM teams?
19. This is the 19th
19.
one.
That's still a ton. Like that would still be a ton to a lot of people. I have
I
some
mean,
people who,
I only did 20 last year total.
yeah. So that would, I mean, you're just as May 18th, right? And you still have 19. So like
Yeah.
probably by end of month you'll probably be like mid 20s, right? Assumingly. So it's not like you have none. I'm not saying like you're far from it. But I
No.
something I do like to ponder a little bit. It's like I want to believe I have an edge. Now, I will admit my scores in this time frame weren't the best,
Well, that
but
would be my concern is we've been talking a lot this offseason about dead roster spots.
yeah,
I think there's a lot greater chance you're going to have a lot of dead roster spots come the
which
season, which
which will
I feel
affect
like
my playoffs. I think will affect my playoffs. I won't deny that it won't affect my playoffs. But I also think I drafted differently last year too, right? Like I think we could argue that Gus Edwards this year could be the Marlon Mack, right? He could be the Marlon Mack of this season. I have probably too much Gus bus. Or James Robinson can be the Marlon Mack of the season for me, where I drafted too much Marlon, James Robinson and etc. But I think if you draft, I think certain level guys from the get go, you take less risk, you're fine. I mean, most of my dead roster spots weren't even that bad. They were dead roster spots like mostly Marlon Mack and some of these random tight ends, but the builds are better. It's two quarterback builds versus three, and things like that. But yeah, and like I said, if it's for it still doesn't kill my advancement overall. It'll probably kill some of my playoff chances in some regular season.
yeah, I mean that would be my biggest concern right now, and which I think you can counteract the dead roster spots by doing less zero RB. Obviously, it's going to be stronger the closer we get to the season because we know the direct handcuffs more.
Yeah,
Um, let's see. We
I
only have
don't think
3 receivers.
I would like to grab Jalen Burks.
I was gonna say Pickens, but I like both of those players.
I would rather have Burks.
You think?
Honestly, yeah. I I'm not sure if you guys call draft dudes, but they're not too into Pickens these days. No, just kidding. I like Pickens, but I feel like Pickens is one of those guys that should be a little further down, right?
I
I
just worry
don't.
Traylon. I just worry with that offense and what
The
it's gonna
offense
look
is
like. But obviously,
yeah.
he's the only receiver on the team, so
He's the only
I
receiver
think
on the
that
team, and I think that's worth
yeah.
taking a shot on. Um, I also just find that it's tough to use Pickens with because I'm afraid like they get to goal line and like, can you confidently tell me who gets touchdowns there?
I mean, no, but when they get to goal line in Tennessee, who's getting the touchdowns there?
I mean, I
Derrick
honestly I
Henry.
think it's Chig. I think it's Derrick Henry than
It's
Chig.
there. It's there. Okay, well then your guy's third on the list.
But still, that's better than like Pickens, who's like probably fifth on the list. Like it's him, Deontay, Pat F, Najee, probably even Warren, and then Allen Robinson. Like
He
there's
would be
like
ahead of Deontay for me as far as goal line touchdowns. Pickens is good at jump balls. Um, I like him better there. And look, we might get a chance to add both.
Boo. You don't want to. You don't want to get a second running back. I think we need a second RB here.
I think Connor might could come back to us.
No, because we have our picks not for another 19.
No, you're right. We need to spend a what? I think we need to go. Would you go Akers for the team correlation with Cup? Get kind of a
Yeah,
Rams.
that'd be nice. I
Yeah,
mean, honestly, I'm pitching for Connor, but I think Connor comes with issues of health in his own right.
yeah. I think we should go Akers here.
Yeah, let's go Akers. It's fine.
Yeah, get that
I
little
like
bit of team, little bit of team correlation.
yeah, I like Connor a ton, but I feel like Connor's one of those guys that seems better in an RB3 set, or if he is your RB2, you do need to hit your next pick as an RB3. Like you need to hit Brian Robinson, Dylan, the Harrises, the Rashad Pennies, because
Which
Connor
I
isn't a
usually
guy
do
that
hit
plays
that
16
range.
games. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I think if you get Akers, you don't have to do that as hard.
I think that's fair. I think, and we're fine at receiver. We're a little weak, but we're plenty on pace to get 5 through 10 rounds.
Oh,
Hopefully
thanks
more.
for answering that question, Paul.
Yeah, thank
Vapor
you,
asked the
Paul.
question, how many UCCs can we? And at first I was trying to say UCC. I was like, what the heck is that? And I was like, oh, Underdog Cardio Club.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
You
we have
just
to get
have
them
to
all.
you have to do 7 minimum, but then, you know, there's not a limit on the amount you can do, but you still have to, prove that you're doing UCCs.
But they only count 7. They're only gonna count 7, and you have to do them by June 16th.
Yeah.
And I'm
There
fat.
is the 7 you have to do in a month, like Paul was
Yeah,
saying.
yeah, yeah. And I'm just trying. I gotta get running. I just kind of wish that like every time I did it, I got the 101. That'd be cool. No
So I
idea,
have
like,
my own like personal thing I'm worried about is like the gym I go to close to me has just awful internet service and awful Wi-Fi. And so I've tried to draft from the treadmill before and it doesn't work. Like I always time out. I get auto picked so many times. It's so like I'm
oh
trying to
god.
figure out what I'm exactly gonna do for them because it does not work
I mean,
drafting at my gym. So
can't you just do like a run outside and then map it out and send it in? I
probably
think that
could.
works too. I mean,
Yeah.
nature has bad Wi-Fi too, but I feel like cellular service is okay.
We'll figure it out. We'll get them done.
Yeah, I mean, I like Deontay Johnson a ton. I really do. So
No,
shout
I've
out to
been
Larry
taking him
two
a lot
times
on
on there.
DK.
I've been finding myself hard to take him because that's where I grab my running backs a lot, and I gotta fix that. I gotta flip it around. I'm doing a lot of these late RB teams. I think I posted one today where it's just nothing but late RB teams.
Pickens would be a good one for me to fall into that big board versus now, because he was going a little bit later than this in the big board, and I had tons of him because he's my guy, and I still don't mind him. But as we're getting closer into the season, I am getting a little more worried about that pass volume. With how much I love Jalen Warren and what they're going to do with the run game, which could include Najee as well. I won't deny that. Uh, I am
A
getting a
lot of
little bit lower on
receptions.
Pickens than where I was at in the big board for sure.
Like my thing with Pickens, and this is I like the idea of him, and I have a hard bias against like the wide receiver twos over in Steeler land. They're always just like very disappointing. And wow, Deontay Johnson went 87. But anyways, they were
Yeah.
very disappointing for me. And what ends up
That's okay
happening?
because he's the wide receiver one. So
Oh yeah, you're right. My bad. But what ends up killing me half the time with them is that they they don't always put up. And then we have Kenny Pickett, who we're still trying to figure out what he is.
yeah,
Is
it's
he
tough.
is he mini Big Ben? Is he a short pass guy? Because if he's a short pass guy, like I don't know if I want Pickens. If he's like this completionist person versus like I think Pickens is gonna be a 50-50 ball guy. Like he needs to be. He's better at that. But if you have a guy that doesn't do it, like we saw this last year with Mike Williams. People will blame Mike Williams' injury for why he didn't produce. Wouldn't have mattered. He could have been on the field. I saw this guy literally not get a target for like 2 quarters because like the way the scheme was and how Justin Herbert was playing was just like Austin Eckler 15 targets, Josh Palmer 9, and then Keenan Allen like 45 targets, and then Mike Williams gets like 3 because he's not clearly beating his opponent in separation. So that scares me a ton. I don't know enough about Pickett to want that. I feel like because of that, like Pickett should be later. If we nobody here likes Pickett realistically. His ADP is like pick
No.
150, 60. but we have two of his receivers at that spot.
All right, we're up here. I kind of like Bateman or Zay. We get Zay on this team. Um,
We didn't get
oh
Quentin Johnson back. We didn't get any of those guys back. That sucks.
no,
We didn't even get Michael Thomas back. What the hell is this?
my you just want to take either
Let's
Zay
take
or
Zay.
Bateman.
Let's take
Which one?
Zay.
I don't know which one you like. Yeah, I'm fine with going Zay. I've been picking Bateman over him a little bit lately, but
I was
I don't
considering
mind him in
like
this build.
I was even considering possibly even like James Cook to like kind of mix it in a little bit. I feel like James Cook's numbers could be pretty solid. Like maybe more expensive Samaje, but like more long term than Samaje. That's how I can look at James Cook's numbers right now. Um,
I'm totally fine with James Cook at this point. I think he's gonna get more target. You know, I know we talked about your Bills projections. I think he's gonna get a little more target share than you had him projected for.
I had him at
And
10,
you know,
like
we
ten
love
percent
Damian
of
Harris,
total.
but do what?
I had him at 10% total of like all of Josh Allen's shares, and it still
Yeah.
showed up as decent numbers.
No, yeah, I think he's a good pick where he's at.
Yeah, I feel like he's gonna be a more consistent long term option in that
This
regard,
is
like versus Samaje.
this is what's tough too, and like because we do love most of the Steelers' weapons, right? Like I think Pickens is a good wide receiver. I think Deontay obviously is. Freiermuth's an awesome tight end, but it's like can Pickett really support all these guys, or it's going to be hard to predict. Um,
So you want to know what their if you look at the draft combine profile, do you want to know what their player comparison was for Kenny Pickett?
Derek Carr.
I wish that would have been nice. Uh, Andy Dalton prime. It literally says Andy Dalton quotation marks or parentheses prime. So like it's one. It's funny that they had to put Andy
All right, I
Dalton in
got a
two
pick here.
categories.
Let's go. Let's take Danny Dimes. I think looking at the QBs left, you know, we're probably squaring in on Russell Wilson and Stafford maybe, but I think
Yeah,
Daniel Jones gives us the best chance at upside of the position.
I got nothing against that.
And then
Daniel Jones.
we can tack on a Jalen Hyatt or you know a Hodgins late. He's you know it's easy to stack him up.
Is this a slow draft? Overflows on pick 14, round 14. Oh my god.
Jeez,
I'm sorry, Dad.
that's
Oh
actually
boy.
insane. It's that far.
Oh
But I
boy.
like the Daniel Jones pick there. I think he was our last chance at upside. True upside. There are some guys we like, obviously. Like I mean, Gino I like, Tua I like, but in just
Yeah.
as far as our build goes, and the fact we didn't have any stacking partners for those guys, I like just grabbing Daniel Jones because of the
I mean,
rushing and the late stacks.
I also just like that Daniel's just a free runner sometimes. Like sometimes I feel like Fields, Jones, AR, Lamar, all those like runner-ish types or semi-runners. I would say Daniel Jones is a semi-runner. Like you don't even have to stack him. Like his weapons kind of suck either way. Like I'm not stoked about taking anyone. Maybe besides a falling Waller, maybe or like a Hodgins, or a Slayton. But I feel like those guys are all like
What about
individuals.
Hyatt?
I have taken no Hyatt. I
Really?
just I think my none of my builds they qualify for him there. I think in the sense of what he can do, he makes sense because he is the idea is he's a contributor, right? But he's a guy that got taken in the third, so the capital isn't like amazing. And then to top it off, he's also this type of wide receiver that like looks way too raw, and I think like Daniel Jones isn't the type of guy to make him better. I If he went to a different team, it's a possibility. Like I just feel like this is another fast guy that people are trying to pay for, and I'm just not sold. I feel like you can get that kind of numbers more consistently earlier. And like I pick 130, if I draft five receivers by then like my Hyatt's my six receivers, my teams are dying by then for other positions.
I guess like we're drafting differently because Hyatt would
Yeah.
probably be like my seventh or eighth receiver at that point. And
Yeah,
so
but my point is like that's a lot of like equity into your receiving core is my point. At that point.
I
He'd be
just
my
think third
sixth
round
at
pick
the
isn't
best.
that like that is still I mean it's a top 100 pick on a guy and a guy with a lot of you know draft buzz coming into it. He's always gonna be a first round pick. And obviously, look, the NFL told us differently, right? They told us what they think of him more so than what a lot of scouts thought. Um, but
Really?
I don't know. I'm still in on
DK
Hyatt. I
Metcalf
think
was a
he's
second rounder?
yeah Metcalf went. I think he was a top 50 pick.
He was a second
He
rounder.
was a second rounder for sure. But still, I
Yeah.
mean, second and third, like obviously that is a big difference. But third is not bad draft capital, and so when you look at the rest of that wide receiver core, and it's you see it's nothing.
So,
Like, he's
like,
gonna have every opportunity to come in and beat those guys out, so
so
I'm totally fine adding him.
pause on Hyatt. So, would you rather have Hyatt at 130 or Reed and Mims at 170? Or Van Jeff, who might be the exact same numbers at 170?
Am I stacking him with Daniel Jones is the thing though, like,
My point is,
that's when that tiebreaker comes into it for me, like, if I'm stacking up Daniel Jones, like, I'm gonna pay for Hyatt because I think it's the best bet at true upside at the position. I like Hodgins, don't get me wrong. I tack him on to a lot of
but I
Daniel
mean,
Jones
like,
builds, but
is he? Are we assuming that Hyatt is going to outdo Hodgins, Slayton, Waller on most games, and I pick 130, right? Like, I don't know if I see it that way. I just don't rank him as high as my point. Is I don't think that he's that guy for me, and I feel like I get those exact numbers with Jefferson, Mims, or Jalen Reed, who is a second rounder going into a situation that's way more beneficial with him.
that's fair. I j
Like I said,
I like him
that's
more
how I
than
feel.
Jaden Reed. I do like him more than Jaden Reed. Um, I'll give you Mims, uh, because I think that Courtland Sutton might be just done, and so I like Mims a lot. I think he's gonna
And
I
like I
think
said,
he's gonna
if he's your
gonna
seventh receiver too, like I feel like that's a lot of picks to put in, and I just can't think of a lot of third round wide receivers that have really done a lot of work. Like third round receivers in like real NFL is almost a borderline dead zone.
yeah.
That's the only reason I don't like high as much. I feel like it's just rough at ADP 130. I think at big board it was a lot of fun to hype in on, but man, like at 130, like you have to almost smash. But his usability is great. I just wish he was a
See,
little bit
I
further down.
that's
Picks.
fair. All right, we're back up. We're back up.
Oh, we can get
Um,
Robs. He fell down 13 picks.
P
Robinson or
Ryan,
P.
P
Or
Ryan
P
to go
Ryan
there.
here.
Judy, or we could take Brian Robinson. I don't. Or I kind of like
Survival.
Damian Harris overall.
I think we can
Do
take
a,
Rob and then take the pick after because I feel like one of those guys is gonna come back.
that's probably true. I'm not as sure on Brian Robinson anymore as you are. I know you're thinking like, and I think that the thesis was there of like the 20 touches up the gut.
Yeah,
I'm kind of buying into the Bieniemy hype a little bit in that Antonio Gibson does just fit his system way better, and that he may come in with a fresh look at the position and a fresh look at the team, and convince Rivera that like what I think like Gibson is the far better player, right? So I'm kind of been buying into that narrative a little bit lately, and I've been taking more Gibson um recently,
you're
but
such a traitor. Such a traitor.
I know team up the gut, like, we've got Nick Chubb, we've got Brian Robinson, and we got him, around after ADP, which is good. I would just say that's something I've been doing lately is mixing in a lot more Gibson because I think there's a chance Bieniemy comes in and is like, listen, this guy fits our system way better and he's just a lot more talented. And so we're gonna roll him out.
I mean, so like the problem with Gibson was, and we saw this a little bit on we were talking about our like little podcast earlier too. Is his vision isn't as great. His opportunity in pass catching is amazing. I think as a pass catcher, if he had a direct role and they said, "Hey man, like you get 280 touches and we're just gonna go with it," Gibson's gonna produce. But his like numbers weren't particularly special for a guy that's supposed to be quicker than Brian. His numbers were identical to Brian Robinson's anyways. And people like to point to Brian Robinson as inefficient, but nobody was efficient behind that O line. I point to O line a lot for like when running backs are doing good or bad, right? Obviously, like you can just be a bad running back too. It happens all the time. But like I point to like the Commanders O line, go like name a running back who did good,
Sure.
right?
You
And the
take
answer is
Damien here?
yeah, we'll take Damien in, and we're
Yeah.
basically done at running back for like a while.
Yeah.
Um,
We don't need
the answer
another
is
one
like
for a long time.
nobody's done well there. Not so like and Brian Robinson came in there after being shot and still was pretty relevant, still handled a workload, was still the end zone guy, and he did it against some teams that were solid. Like he ran the ball well enough against the 49ers. Like that's to me says a lot. And if they fix that O line even slightly, and sure, you're probably losing pass downs, but I don't care about 30 yards and like three receptions. I care about like who's gonna fall his head into the end zone. I don't think it's Gibson. I
I'm
do not.
gonna I'm gonna answer this one for me personally because I'm the one who kind of threw that out there saying he's dust. Wasn't being totally serious there, but my point would be all the trade rumors in the offseason surrounding Judy and Sutton, and then I, they brought in Mims, who is more of a deep shot guy, which is what Sutton is, in my opinion. And so they kind of brought that coaching staff, Sean Payton bringing in a guy to potentially play Sutton's position. I think they're going to still give him a shot. And you said he hopefully he is finally healthy and can prove it because I know a lot of Broncos fans, including my friend Ben here, loves Cortland Sutton, and so I hope he can have a big year for them. I just think because of the Mims pick, the rumors of the trade, that's kind of why I've cooled on Sutton a good bit. And I know there were trade rumors for Judy as well, but they made a little bit bigger commitment to him with the 5th-year option, and so that's my opinion there on why I kind of threw that out there saying he's dust, but he very well might not be. It's just kind of some context clues with the situation that I'm personally drawing, which could not be true.
I yeah, that's a tough one. So I'm on this different side. I don't take a lot of Sutton. I find myself trying to find ways to use him because I'm like pick 95 Sutton is like that would have been a wet dream last year, right?
Yeah,
Even 2 years ago, people were still stoked about it, right? I do think he has value. I think he's a big body type player, like
he is,
the
but he's
Allen
also a
Robin.
downfield guy as
No,
well.
exactly. He's a big body downfield guy. Like he's probably good against bad corners, really bad against good corners. Like I wouldn't want him against Jalen Ramsey. I want him against like just some random corner, like kind of like Mike Evans, right? Like they win by size and power.
Yeah, he's Sutton's not been the biggest separation guy.
Yeah, he's not a
Uh,
finesse guy. So I'm a little curious on how that works with Russell. I think he's a fine pick actually. I do think that my Marvin Mims shares are hoping that he goes away, like by
yeah,
a
yeah,
long shot.
exactly.
Like we're begging for it. Yeah, that's what it is. I think obviously we've blown the narrative quite a bit on this, but pick
Yeah,
95, like no one's excited about Sutton at that point. A guy that's a two with Russell Wilson and etc. And I think Russ was actually playing okay. I think a lot of it, I say the word okay, but he played okay at the end. I just think it was just really bad play calling. Like it was just absolutely
I mean,
terrible
and
play
the
calling.
Broncos traded up for Marvin Mims, right, in the
Yeah,
second
they traded
round,
up for
like,
Marvin Mims.
and so I don't know. That's just kind of the conclusion I'm drawing is that they're bringing him in for that reason to be their deep shot guy. But again, he could be the fourth wide receiver and still be a good deep shot player for them. But I don't know. It's tough.
I also feel like
Look,
the. Well, we'll wait. I also feel like.
Hyatt 140.
Oh
He's
my
actually
god.
ADP 140, not
Yeah,
130. Like
he
you were
was
saying,
130s originally though. He was like
he's falling.
130 to 133.
But
I
Russ
remember
also did fall, which is we have our
makes a lot of
Judy.
sense here.
Yeah,
Um, but like when you look at like let's say what happened with the Broncos suffer from this every year. Is that yeah, I agree. By the way, Brett, that he is a tier break. I do believe on that
yeah.
one.
That range of him and Bateman is kind of my last two that I kind of consider for my top five in the top 100.
So something that happened with the Broncos the year before and last year is they suffered these random injuries.
All right,
And
what do you
like
think? Wilson or Hyatt?
I would take Wilson. I think we take Wilson here. We might be done at quarterback.
Maybe because we still have Stafford sitting out there though. We could do Stafford Van late.
Yeah, but then we get Stafford. I feel like we have to get a third. But listen, if you want to grab higher
Yeah.
for that stack, I'm down to mix it up a little bit.
I think I'm
Pick,
getting
pick,
lagged
pick,
out
pick.
here.
Oh no. Oh no, we're gonna hit Schultz.
We're getting auto drafted.
Auto drafted Schultz at week 17. Oh god.
Oh no, the draft from the parents' house.
Oh
We got
god.
Russell Wilson. We got Russell Wilson. We're good.
Okay,
Let me
okay.
let me try and get it going.
Sorry. I just forgot Steph is just rubbing it in. They finished already.
All right. You know what? Russell Wilson was a pick there. Okay.
Cool.
Let's
We're not
queue up a
terrible.
few players that we like here. Oh no, it's not working.
Might have to do this on your phone. I
You
don't
know,
know.
we made it 12 rounds, right? Yeah, I'm gonna pull up on the phone as backup.
Um, but yeah, so like I think Russ is fine, and I do think that we hope that that's the case. I agree that Sun is a tier break. That's why I think people are kind of like crapping on him kind of hard. But he's a couple years past his injury. He's the type of player that can be upside. Like he's an upside player. Like I mean, he's what your wide receiver 5, 6, 7 at that point, or 5 or 6.
It
Like
wouldn't
I'm
be
not mad at Sutton.
six,
He'd be
probably.
he'd be a 5, maybe 6 if someone went really ham in the wide receivers. There's a lot of guys who punt quarterback. I've noticed. You might have to do something. There we go.
I'm just queuing some people just in
Yeah.
case. Who else would you want me to queue here? I don't mind Chart. We kind of need a
I
receiver. This MVS.
we'll be at our. Here's the thing. We're already at
We're
5.
only at
We're gonna be at
5.
6.
I think
So
we
this will
just take
probably
one of these
be
two
a
guys.
2 5 8 3. Um,
Yeah, probably will be. I don't. We did take Kittle, which I know you still like taking 3 tight ends with Kittle.
I do. I
Um,
mean, I don't want to be 2.592. Like I feel like that just feels even goofier.
no, that's fair. I
And
mean,
like Kittle,
I still think I'm open to a third quarterback on this team.
really.
Yeah. I
I
just
mean,
don't trust Russ as much as you, but we did put a. I mean, I don't know. We got him to fall. Like I wouldn't mind doing Stafford here.
I mean, if you really want to go, that's fine. I'm cool with that. I mean, if you want to do like what 3.5, 8.2, like that's fine. I just feel
I
like
think we
Kittle
just
right
let the
now.
board come to us.
Yeah, I feel like Kittle's really tough to like in two situations unless they
All
get
right,
like a hit
we
game.
get the Hyatt fall. I think we just take the stack,
Yeah, we take Hyatt. That's good.
and it's
So that's
almost pick 150.
and here's the thing. At
So
like 150, I have no qualms of Hyatt.
yeah,
Right? Like I have no qualms of him there. When he was at 130, and he was, I felt that was really weird. I'm like, you guys are trusting a lot of Daniel Jones, who has had zero relevant wide receivers. Zero.
yeah.
Sterling Shepard was his most relevant wide receiver.
I think it's fair, but he's also coming off his best season with Dable, who we love, and so I think
With
there's that improvement chance there. I don't know.
who was relevant last year?
Daniel Jones rushing
Right? Just Daniel Jones, and that was it. Right?
Saquon.
Like, yeah, like, and that's my point. It's just like sometimes there's no production to be had. It happens.
That's fair. That's a good point.
Yeah, and like I said,
But
like,
we're betting on more Daniel Jones improvement. A guy the coaching
oh, of
staff and
course.
front office took them, in the third round.
And
Um,
they paid Daniel Jones a ton of
yes,
money.
yeah, Ben is mentioning it. Isaiah Hodgins wasn't bad down the stretch. I think he had some good games coming down.
Well,
So
him and Richie James are great, but would you guys take any of them at like pick 150 or pick 130 right now?
no,
You know,
obviously we're projecting a little bit with Hyatt, but the
Hodge
third
is like
round draft capital is
180
there.
or like 190 right now. So it's tough. Like none of these receivers are that high, and it seems to be none of us trust Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I trust Daniel Jones.
I trust him by himself.
I
I
trust him
trust him
to
to.
run.
I trust him to be
I
healthy.
might not trust him to throw, but I do trust him to run.
Yeah. I mean, I like hope for all the best, and I would actually root for Daniel Jones a ton. As much as don't like the Giants, I root for him a ton. Because I'm always like, be the guy that like proved all those like haters wrong when you got selected. Because he got
Exactly.
the most hate when he got selected.
Yeah,
He really got.
that's kind of why I do root for Daniel Jones is because he does get so much hate, especially like with some people I know who are watching the stream right now. Hate Daniel Jones, and so I do kind of play the heel in that situation. But I actually do think he showed a lot of improvement last year, and I'm excited to see what he can do moving forward in this offense with Dable, and I think Hyatt's going to be a part of that. Yep, he knew who I was talking about. Who hates?
There's a lot of hate for this man. Like it was bad. I felt so bad for the guy. And
Yeah.
you know what though? When people point back, the hate that he kind of gets is like the opposite of like Will Levis in a way. Everyone's like, "Oh, Will Levis played with like bad receivers and stuff," but like so did Daniel Jones. Like Daniel Jones
Oh,
played with like
Daniel Jones
absolute
has had terrible weapons his entire career,
in
an
college. In
awful
college, he had
coaching
terrible
staff.
weapons.
Yeah, he's played at Duke. Like Stephanie already just texted me the board from the overflow.
You
From
guys
the
are so
overflow,
funny.
so we've already
I
got it.
want to tweet
We
it
can
out for
analyze.
a
We can go ahead
table.
and fully break down that draft
I
before.
want to see
Ooh,
both. We have to do it. I'm willing to do a
I
little
will.
bit of OT on this. That's funny.
I'll send it over to. I'm gonna actually. How am I? Yeah, I don't have
I gotta see it. Oh, and I guess we should do our last topic for the funsies
Oh
since we're
yeah.
almost over. How do you, this is actually kind of having a nice opinion on this, but how do you feel about the single entry contest for Dalmatian? Does it entice you? Do you not care? Or does it make you want to fade the contest?
I'm
This is
definitely
the
playing.
first one.
We were playing the Dalmatian. Myself and my friend Ryan, we are uh, playing it together. So it's gonna be fun. We're actually on the clock in the first round at pick 11. So we haven't made our decision yet.
Milk
But
it.
I'm uh, do what?
I'm kidding, but it's funny.
But no, yeah, I'm definitely. I love the Dalmatian. I love the single entry. I think that's fun because when you're playing something higher stakes with depending on what your bankroll is, like $500 for a team for or even 250 like the big dog. What was the max on that last year? Like you're playing against some people, some sharp people with really really big bankrolls. Like I actually love where the Dalmatian sits. Um at that price range where it's like $100, which is still steep for one fantasy football team. But it fits.
Ooh,
What
Higby.
do I play?
Higby.
Higby.
Yes, we
Oh, we're
fell
setting up
for
our our,
pick.
our, our Stafford double.
It's gonna sound that Stafford. We're gonna be so Stafford up. It's gonna be amazing. um, yeah, I mean, I
We
like
do
that
have our
single
guy.
entry. I actually makes it. People hate us maxers, like they do. They deep down say like, "I hope you die." I wish people broke. No, I'm just kidding. No, like people don't like maxers. They don't. I've seen kind of like the hate against it. Like you are drafting so many teams. It's not. It's an advantage for you and not anyone else. So I actually do like the idea of single entry. Like it's putting your money where your mouth is. Right? We're all gonna play on even ground. The contest is a lot smaller, so you're not drafting against 700,000 teams like if you are in BBM. Which, by the way, like if you finish like top 10K and like 700K teams, that's like very very impressive. By the way, so like that's something to like I would say write home about. But single entry is cool. Like I think it's fun. $101 is great, and shout out to Liam on this. I'm gonna give him credit. Like he talks about sometimes your best investment is to do these smaller fields for $100 versus 4 BBMs or 25 puppies, right? Like 25 puppies is actually not advantageous to you versus $100 on a thousand and I think 80 entrant
Yeah, it's
contest
1,080 entries, and like if you're obviously
with
looking
four
for the
advancement, by the way.
yeah, which is both good and bad. I think like the final being 40 versus
Oh, we
all
gotta
right, we're
pick a
back
guy.
up. We can either take Stafford or Mims. I kind of like Mims. Get our double with Russ.
We're gonna go Mims it up. I'm down. We're gonna Mims it up, and no, yeah, it's fine. You know what's
It's
weird? It's like
three
I know.
straight rookie receivers. I think is a little something different for us. Um,
We hope you all get
but
traded, all your counterparts.
we did get Mr. Reliable and Cooper Cup, T Higgins and Judy who were hoping on, and so
3 vet receivers, that's fine. But like, oh yeah, so as you were saying, but like the puppies on the, you didn't like the fact that it's only 1 and 4 advancements.
it's both good and bad. Obviously, it's better for making your money back, getting 4 out of 12 to advance, a higher chance of advancing. But it does make like the final bigger because like the 1,080 person contest on DraftKings is a 10 person final, which it's only 2 of 12, but that's pretty enticing if you can get there.
Yeah, it's true.
Obviously, it is slightly harder to get there.
What's the UD
Um,
version? Do you remember the UD?
it's a 40 person final.
That still doesn't feel
It's
bad.
just it's not huge. It's not for a lot of the stuff that we play, which is 400 or 250. So
And
I
like
mean,
you have
I'm
to think
I'm
about it.
interested in. I kind of like having a portfolio of contests. Not just players, but contests. I want to try some smaller field, higher buy-in, like single entry stuff. And I love spraying at the puppies. Right, like it's fun to do those. You can just rip them all day long, like $5 a pop. So I'm gonna have a portfolio of different types of contests. Now, a question I have for you is: do you draft your single entry or your higher dollar buy-in stuff differently than you would do a BBM or a puppy?
Oh man. So okay, so I'm not that good at the higher prize games. I got destroyed last year. I did well in the Dalmatian, like I guess, but I got destroyed in the big dog and etc. And I think a lot of it came down to like me not being confident in my money. Like I know when we invest $5 and we do 1,000 times, we're like, just $5. Like every time we do it, doesn't matter that it's 5,000. It's the fact that there are 1,000 $5 entries, right? But when we go to like 250 or maybe it's just me. I'm just speaking for myself. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. But if I put 250, like imposter syndrome kind of comes up a little bit. Like I go,
No,
oh,
I'm there with you.
I got to get this right. Like maybe I'm wrong. Maybe all that stuff I was saying all last year is like really really bad now. Maybe I don't like Michael Thomas all of a sudden, right? Like like I was second guessing myself at every pick, like
Yeah.
and I did this last year and it really burned me. I was like, I'm gonna scoop value because like the field is so right. And to be fair, the field was actually wrong. A lot of that value I got like burned me completely. So I have changed and I'm more confident now this year than I've ever been. Like if I'm doing 750 drafts and I like my guys, I'm gonna pretend that $100 at 255. I'm getting my guys, my ranks, my takes because this isn't a correlation for the field. This is my. I think I got this right.
Yeah.
So
I
I do
definitely
draft
think
like
the higher buy-in stuff I do more as go get your guys
yeah.
versus letting it fall to me. I'm not gonna get crazy and reach all over the board, the
Of
entire
course.
time,
No one's saying to go
but
grab picks, like 30 early picks early. Yeah, for sure.
no, but I have noticed from, the first, like, slow draft I'm in, it can get kinda weird, like, the people go and get their guys in those, and so that's what I'm gonna try and do with more of my higher dollar buy-in stuff this year.
And at the end of the day, too, like getting value on a pick doesn't actually give you points. And I'll give you an example. Last year, like James Conner in one of my big dogs, he went like 15 picks or 16 picks late, and I was like, or 20 picks late. And I was like, I don't like James Conner at all. But he fell, and I added him to like a team that honestly didn't need him. I think it was like my third running back, and I didn't need a third running back there, and it hurt me value for later. It was such an amateur move, and I couldn't get guys I liked later, and etc. And that team got destroyed, completely
Right.
destroyed. So go get your guys, build how you want to build. Like this is your chance to say I'm right. You should be doing it there. Get weird for $5. Get weird for the 25s even. Like you're taking 100 shots. You get allowed to be weird, but when you're only taking one, like you have to take that shot. Like if you're being accurate. So
Yeah.
I do definitely play better and differently there. Maybe not better, but differently.
Alright, what are we thinking here? I kinda like Tyjae Spears. We got a little bet on Tennessee with Burks. Hodgins for the Daniel Jones double. How is this draft so slow? I don't know, Stephanie, it
Sorry,
is.
Bob. I was gonna
We
say
could
Gus.
do
We do
yeah, I
need a
figured you
fifth, and
were.
he's like the last good fifth running back in.
Yeah, I don't mind Lenny, honestly, but I like Gus.
Like we
We
need a
finished an
fifth.
hour ago.
You guys are such dicks. Like this show's only been on for an hour. I'm sorry. Like you,
Yeah, I don't know why he coulda took Zach Evans because we have that big bet on the Rams, but
yeah,
I
but we
don't
also have
mind.
Akers. Like we're gonna
Oh,
direct
yeah, never
handcuff
mind. Well,
ourselves.
we could handcuff with
I,
four Rams.
I mean, we could always still go to. We could technically grab here and do 2-6-8-2 if you want to grab like
I
another
kinda
running back.
like Palmer for the Denver bringback.
That's
Eh,
true.
or the sounds so
But does
enthused.
he
Paul
help?
or Mechie to bring back on, Traylon Burks. I don't know.
Would you go Hal, naked Hal?
No.
No. Um,
God.
let's get Palmer. Let's get Palmer.
I like Palmer. I haven't taken a share of Palmer, and I don't think he's dead in that offense. I really
I don't like Palmer, but I also don't like Mike Williams or Joel Everett to survive a year. I just
yeah.
don't think that's happening.
I
I
mean,
think like
look, he
Mike
needs an
Duck.
injury for relevance. Um,
But if I had to bet on one, it'd be Mike Williams, who in our thumbnail is holding his back already. So,
exactly. Yeah, that's something we should have, and we'll touch on that a little bit. But that range of receiver is disgusting to me. Like
oh my God, it's so bad.
DeAndre Hopkins, DJ Moore, Mike Williams, like they're all guys that have clear upside cases. But man, it is so tough to tell like who's gonna last the season, who's gonna be in what situation, and
who's in
so
a good room, like who's in a good quarterback set. Like all those guys either have Colt McCoy, Jordan Love throwing to them, or are injured, and then a
even
Bears
Russell
team.
Wilson, like we took
Yeah,
Judy, but he's in that
yeah.
mix of like guys with a questionable quarterback situation.
And Justin Fields, who barely had, I when I had to put in his projections, I was like 25 pass attempts a game? Question mark.
Yeah,
Like
it's tough.
that's
It's
not a.
tough.
Yeah, it's a lot. Oh God, hope has control. We really trying to make this show longer, guys.
Yeah.
So then our next draft, we're gonna do a slow draft, and you guys are gonna have to sit around on this one. Oh
Live slow draft. We are doing a 2-week stream.
God. I was messing with somebody. I was like, I think I was choking on like Spike Week. I was like, oh yeah, dude, I'm gonna do my cardio club on a slow draft. Like I'm gonna be here all week just running on this cardio. It's gonna be terrible.
And what
Why are you laughing so hard? Just like out there.
in your underdog
Why?
cardio club slow draft.
That's one, like the marathon. Because I was thinking about Mike Leone. We ran the marathon. I was like, man, that's not. Was it Mike Leone? Yeah, Mike Leone. No, Adam Levitan ran it.
Le- Leone ran it.
Leone ran it, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, that just sounds like an underdog cardio club, like on slow draft style. Like, there's no way. That sounds absolutely terrible.
Oh man.
I know. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be joking like that. That'd be
I mean, it would be impressive if you could last the whole time.
painful.
Um,
Oh my god. Yeah. So Dog Pound, Fantasy Dog Pound, our buddy, Abound, the Pound Town, the Pounders, as he always calls us. That room is so decked in like It's got Paul. It's got Spags. It's got him. It's got Casey. Super shorty Nate's. And then two other shields in there. Oh my god, that is absolutely rough. Why is Coffee Black up 3,200 points for projections? I gotta see this later. We gotta
Do they
pull this
take?
up.
Yeah. Do you have it where
Oh,
you can pull it up on your computer?
yeah,
Because
but if you pull it Twitter, I'll be able to pull it up. Oh,
I don't
okay.
have. I don't have.
Uh,
I'm on a different computer,
oh yeah. Okay, okay, okay.
so
Well,
I'll
welcome
need
aboard.
you to pull it up.
I'm absolutely dying. Oh no, this is hard to like zoom in though. Maybe if I can save this. Nope, I can't save this image.
All right. So what do you think for this last pick? Are we gonna tack on a third tight end here with only
Depends on who's
having Kittle,
there.
Higby?
I do think Higby's like the most floor guy possible, so I think that's fine. I think I'd be more scared if it was like Dawson Knox and him or Cole Kmet and him maybe. But I think Higby's like a solid guy that's gonna get you at least like 6 points a week. So I'm not
I mean,
too
I still like some
intimidated.
of these guys. I like Otten even. I like Hunter Henry.
I think
Don't mind
Trey
Gasecki.
McBride's fine. I
I
do
think
like
he's
Gasecki.
gone. Trey McBride's
I
gone.
know. Let's click tight end. Let's see where we're at. I mean, we could also just, you know,
It's rough. We don't have to.
yeah, I think you don't
We
have to.
could tack. I mean, if you think we need something to help boost Daniel Jones and Russ Wilson, I don't mind a Hal or a Ritter.
Chiefs bring back, he says.
No team
Damn.
needs Jalen Tolbert.
You guys are such assholes at the Jalen. You know, I'm sorry. I had like 18% Jalen Tolbert last year. I apologize.
I
All
mean, I
right, I
think a lot of us fell for that. I mean, they gave he had what was he one of those third round wide receivers that
yeah,
you
two
love?
five eight two. Let's just grab a tight end. I feel like a ninth receiver doesn't help us here. Unless it just feels
And I
weird.
mean, we did take a lot of like rookie. That's fair. I mean, we do have the Giants guys. We could just throw on a
And
Slayton.
the one thing I always say too is that like Kittle can always go in your flex. Like it's very possible he does. Out of all the tight ends, that man is the flex monster outside of Kelsey and Andrews. So like we
Yeah.
could grab Hunter Henry. We can grab.
You know, like Gasecki?
I don't like Gasecki here.
I think Hunter Henry's still going to play a good bit.
I do think so too. I mean, you know what? We can get weird and try one of those the tight ends from the Packers. I know you were pitching them recently.
Yeah. Musgrave or Tucker Craft we could do. I would probably
Would you rather
rather.
go Cade?
I think I'd rather just do Hunter Henry.
Hunter Henry? All right.
Yeah.
Gasecki, more like Mike Gasecki.
You do have a bias against Mike Gesicki, though. We should say that.
I mean, I try to like him as a Dolphin, and I do think I actually still do like him. I just don't think the. I will say Mac Jones. I feel like is a guy that's willing to throw 50-50 balls. Like I feel like he's the type that's willing to like play contested shots. And Gasicki
Yeah.
thrives in contested shots, but you need a quarterback that's willing.
That's fair. All right, let's recap our team here. Let's pull it up. A 2-5-8-3. We got Daniel Jones stacked up with Jalen Hyatt. We got Russ Wilson double with Judy and Marvin Mims. I like that a lot. If Russell Wilson can be Russell Wilson again. I like our running back room a lot. Chubb, Akers, Robinson, Damien Harris. This is team up the gut. Let's be honest. Like this is not gonna be catching 60 balls. Well, Cam Akers might, but you know what? It's a half EPR site. Don't you forget that. um, with
Team up
our
the gut, man.
guys, we're going for touchdowns here. We got Cup kind of as our anchor, which getting T where we got him was nice for this team. Judy left that pick. Trellin Burks, I'm a little iffy on, but I don't mind him. I pitched him a lot earlier.
I was like, you pitched him to me all off season. I'm out now. I'm
Yeah,
buying in, and you're off the train.
he's higher than he was though in the big. I mean, again, the big board changes a lot. And then
Yeah.
we've got our rookie stabs with Zay, Hyatt, Mims. I like some of our team correlations here. I feel like we did not pay as close attention to week 17 in this one as we usually do. But we
We still
got
landed on some of it though.
we got a little Denver Chargers.
And here's the thing: correlation doesn't have to be 17. It can be week 15. It can be week 16. Like it's all of the above. It's all about getting to 17 first,
That's fair.
which I live in that boat. I like to get to 17. Then
All
I'll
right,
talk
I
about
am gonna
17.
take this down, and then we're gonna pull up the draft board. Oh man, can you make that bigger?
I'm
That is
trying.
tiny.
Oh my cat.
You might have to
Well,
open it in a new tab. It usually works better doing that.
I cannot. It's
Okay.
not letting me. It's like literally like just doing it this way. I could save image and maybe pull it up, but I can read it enough. Let me see.
Okay, I can't read it all, so this is all up to you here.
All right, so let's go with our the first person, the one that actually put this up for us, the Dog Pound, Fantasy Dog Pound, he got AJ Brown, Jonathan Taylor, Debo Samuel, Mike Williams. So he has three receivers in his first four picks. And you have two of the receivers I don't like, man. I'm sorry, dude, but I don't like Debo and Mike. But he has them. He's got the Kittles, Joe Mixon. So JT Mixon, great. I like that combo. Anthony Richardson, Darren Waller, AJ Dillon, Alan Lazard, Aaron Rodgers for the stack with his Alan Lazard, and then Alec Pierce with his stack for the Anthony Richardson, Rashid Shaheed, no stack there because doesn't need it as a solo play. Van Jeff, Chuba Hubbard, McCole Hardman, Brock Purdy to stack with his Debo and his Kittle. Wow, nice
I
running
like
back.
that.
That's cool. That's really cool. I like that. Good bet
It's your
too.
team.
I think it's and then Zach Evans. Does he have? Oh yeah, and Zach Evans on the back to go with his Van Jeff in case Akers doesn't make it. We'll go with Paul, who's out of pick 12. Garrett Wilson, I'm on Raw. Couldn't get that CD, could you, buddy? But Garrett Wilson, I'm on Raw. Christian Watson, his first three picks. TJ Hawkinson, Brandon Ayuk, Jordan Addison. So he went five receivers on his first out of his first six picks, and he went a little early on Addison, and he went a little early on Watson.
Eh,
Uh, so then Cam Akers, Javonte Williams. So that's his double running backs there. Kirk Cousins to stack with his Addison. Rashad Penny. Well, he had Kirk Cousins a couple picks late. So
I
Rashad
like it.
Penny, Roshan Johnson. So four running backs at that point. Jalen Hyatt got 133. So we got a value on Paul there. So just see 133. I told you it was in the 130s. And then Sam
Well, it just
Laporta,
depends on what. It just depends on what room you're in.
DPJ, Leonard Fournette, Bryce Young, Terrence Marshall, and then Keontae Ingram. Oh, was not expecting that one. I guess if you
I like
expect
it.
me to help,
I've actually picked some Keontae Ingram this year, and so I kind of like that pick from Paul
why do you
there.
always root against me, man? And then we
All right.
got the homie,
Oh,
super shorty, Steph, Diggs, Allen, good stack. Ramondre Stevenson, just for you. Keenan Allen, JSN, and Tyler Lockett. Oh, that's pretty good. And then Dallas Goddard at pick 79, so like 13 picks past ADP. Rashad Bateman, 18 picks early. James Cook, Geno Smith to stack with their double
oops, hold on.
Seattle.
I took the thing down. My bad.
Why do you hate me?
Sorry. Pull it back up. All right, let's do hers and then let's wrap it.
Geno Smith, Elijah Mitchell, Nico Collins,
My
Jalen
bad.
Warren, Marvin Mims. Looks like naked Mims. Oh, with Keenan Allen. Gerald Everett to go with the stack that she had there. And then Isaiah Hodgins, Gus Edwards, and Ronald Jones. From the Dallas girl, she took Ronald Jones.
She adds Ronald Jones on. I like it. I like it.
And then just to throw it in there for fun, Spags was also in that draft. So please
Yeah.
catch that on the pound. He tagged us. He posted it. It's kind of
Yeah.
funny. That's a lot of red shields, red badges.
That is funny. I just love the time that it took to finish that one. Like that was
They finished before us.
impressive to say the least, but it
They're
was a
all
good time.
badges. They already knew what they wanted. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Road to 150. By the time we get
Well,
here next Tuesday, I'll have 50 drafts done apparently in BBM. Who knows? God, it's so bad. I really gotta pace myself. Yeah. Remember, like, subscribe, join us every week if we can. Hope. Any last words?
Yep, we'll be back next week with normal settings, normal setup, back home. And so catch us then. Like you said, like, subscribe. If you don't play an Underdog, use promo code HOPE. And thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight.
Before I go. So I know people are gonna wonder what the happy birthday's for. My cat that's laying right there. It's
Oh
her
my
birthday on
gosh.
yesterday. She turned 6.
You did all that for your cat? That's impressive.
We have a candle. She got some gift. Anyways,
All right.
happy birthday. All right, we can go.